Right now, somewhere in your life, a key is being cut for a lock you haven't even found yet. You won't hear the sound of it happening. There's no flash of light, no voice from the sky. But heaven moves in whispers long before it moves in miracles. Tonight, I want to walk you through 6 quiet signals that usually show up right before God opens the door you've been waiting years to see. Stay until the end. Sign number 4 is the one almost everyone misses, and it might already be happening in your life right now. If you're waiting on something right now, you already know how exhausting it can be. You check for the answer that hasn't come. You replay old disappointments, wondering if you heard God wrong. You watch someone else's prayer get answered and quietly ask, God, what about me? Maybe you've stopped even praying about it out loud, because saying it again feels like reopening a wound. If that's you tonight, I want you to know, waiting doesn't mean forgotten. And what feels like nothing happening might actually be the most important part of the story. There's a man in Scripture named Nehemiah who understood this better than almost anyone. He wasn't a prophet or a priest. He served wine to a foreign king far from the ruins of his homeland. When news reached him that Jerusalem's walls lay broken and its gates burned, something inside him broke too. He sat down and wept. He fasted. He prayed for days, not once, not twice, but for months. Nothing visible changed. He still poured the king's wine every single day in the same palace, wearing the same servant's robe. But something was shifting where no one could see it. Then one day, the king looked at Nehemiah's face and asked a simple question, "Why does your face look so sad?" That single question cracked open a door Nehemiah had been carrying in prayer for 4 months. Within moments, the king granted him permission, protection, and provision to rebuild the very walls he had grieved over in silence. 4 months of what looked like nothing were actually the door being built, piece by piece, before Nehemiah ever saw it swing open. Here's what most people miss about that story. The door didn't open the day the king asked the question. It opened the day Nehemiah's grief turned into prayer. That's usually how it works for us too. So, let's walk through 6 quiet signs that often show up before God opens a long-awaited door. Sign 1. A holy restlessness settles into your spirit. Not anxiety, not fear, but a stirring that makes it hard to stay comfortable where you are. That's what Nehemiah felt the moment he heard about the broken walls. If you've been feeling that same unrest lately, don't mistake it for something wrong with you. It's often the first sign that heaven is preparing to move. Sign 2. Your old normal stops satisfying you. The things that used to feel fine now feel small. That's not ingratitude. That's growth, making room for what's coming next. Sign 3. People start speaking words over you that don't match your current situation. Someone tells you you're made for more than this, and you don't even know why they said it. In the book of Esther, her uncle Mordecai spoke one sentence that changed everything. Perhaps you were made queen for such a time as this. She didn't ask for that word. It found her right when she needed it most. Sign 4, and this is the one most people miss. Small, unglamorous obediences start showing up before the big breakthrough does. Nehemiah didn't walk straight into rebuilding a wall. First, he had to ask permission. Then he had to travel. Then he quietly inspected the broken stones at night, alone, before telling anyone his plan. The big door almost always hides behind a series of small, boring yeses. Sign 5, an old wound finally starts to loosen its grip. Moses spent years avoiding Egypt because of guilt from his past. But when God called him back, the guilt didn't disappear instantly. It loosened just enough for Moses to say yes. If forgiveness or release is happening in you right now, even slowly, that's not unrelated to your breakthrough. It's often connected to it. Sign 6, quiet expectancy returns, even without proof. After years of disappointment, Sarah laughed at the idea of a promise fulfilled. But later, when it actually happened, she said, "God has brought me laughter." The same doubt that once mocked the promise became the joy that welcomed it. If a small flicker of hope keeps returning, even though nothing has changed yet, don't ignore it. That flicker is often the first light under a door that's about to open. So what do you do with all of this? Start here. Write down where you're feeling that holy restlessness. Don't dismiss it. Say yes to the small, unglamorous step in front of you, even if it doesn't look like the answer. Choose to release one thing you've been holding on to, even if it's just a little today. And instead of rehearsing how long you've waited, start speaking the promise out loud, even before you see it. Faith isn't pretending the wait didn't happen. It's trusting that the wait had a purpose. If you recognized even one of these 6 signs in your own life tonight, that's not a coincidence. God rarely opens a door without preparing the person walking through it first. Nehemiah wept for months before he ever picked up a single stone. Esther waited for the right moment before she ever entered the throne room. Your waiting season is not empty. It's the door being built. So don't give up in the exact season your breakthrough is quietly forming. Type "I'm believing" in the comments, share this with someone who's been waiting a long time for their answer, and subscribe because next time we're going to talk about what to do the moment the door finally opens.